This is our seventh session, Self-Care for Caregivers. And we are thrilled to welcome our community expert, Maria Beers, founder of Art Junk Studios. Hi, Maria, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Of course, of course. Today's presentation will be recorded just as all of our other presentations are and posted later on our MGH FTD Unit YouTube channel. And for those of you who've joined us today, if you have any questions for myself or Maria, you can use the chat function or the question and answer function at the bottom of your screen. I'd like to take a minute to introduce myself. My name's Katie Brandt. I'm the Director of Caregiver Support Services and Public Relations for the Massachusetts General Hospital FTD Unit. And this topic is especially important to me because I have been working with so many caregivers during this difficult time of pandemic to help them cope with providing care at home during the time of social distancing. We know that social distancing doesn't have to mean social isolation. And part of the Community Forum Friday events are to remind us that community isn't canceled. I'm on here today with my craft apron and my FTD unit t-shirt and pin, and looking forward to connecting with Maria to give me some ideas about self-care. And one of the things that I wanted to emphasize for everyone who is a caregiver, whether you are caring for a loved one with dementia or caring for children at home, or maybe you're providing care for a neighbor who can't get to the grocery store and you're making those extra trips. Anything that you do for self-care for yourself allows you to have more energy, more gas in the tank, more water in your cup so that you can give to others. And what we're going to talk about today is that self-care does not require many hours. It does not require special knowledge or equipment. It sometimes is even just literally a moment, a positive affirmation, maybe playing your favorite song while you're taking a shower in the morning, listening to a funny podcast while you're washing the dishes, going that extra mile to maybe make brownies on a rainy Friday. Whatever it is that brings you peace or comfort is a form of self-care. And Maria's here today to talk to us about using creativity and art as one of the ways that we can give self-care and calming practices to ourselves. Maria comes to us with a personal and professional drive for her work. Maria will share with us, but she was inspired to create Art Junk Studios because of her beautiful mother, Amalia Kent. And Amalia is someone who's inspired many of us, and she is living with FTD and ALS at this time, and Maria will share a little bit more about that. But also, I think what Maria's really got is the ability to show us how she is honoring her mom and taking those wonderful messages and lessons that she shared with her and sharing them with others and us. So Maria, welcome today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. A part of the mission of my business is to participate with the FTD community, and I'd like to do free events for caregivers. So it's really exciting for me to start with this. So I can tell you a little bit about why I started the business, if you'd like.
Absolutely. That's what I was hoping. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so my mom was diagnosed with FTD, as Katie said, in 2016. She has a PPA variant, which means for her, she very quickly lost her ability to communicate. And obviously, as a tight-knit family, there's 4 of us kids and our loving dad. It was extremely difficult for us to lose that connection with my mom through communicating with words. She's just such an integral part of every piece of our lives and just such a vibrant spirit that obviously it was very difficult for us to cope. But one of the things that I would turn to is her art blog. She had over 500 posts of an art blog that she called Art Junk, with beautiful, beautiful messages about creativity and about kindness towards others. And it was just such a comfort to turn to her words in her blog when she could no longer speak.
Mhm.
I apologize. My English bulldog has decided to join me.
We say during the
If you
time of
hear any snoring,
yeah, during the time of pandemic, pets
yes,
and kids show up.
it's either him in here or my 2-year-old. So we'll take the snoring bulldog.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, um, like I said, my mom left this beautiful gift of this blog. When she could no longer speak, we could read her words. And my husband gave me the most amazing Christmas gift after she was diagnosed, and it is a collection of her art blog. He turned it into a book, and
I love
it's
that.
amazing. It has so many beautiful posts, all of her artwork in there. And it just, seeing this book and seeing like how much joy it was bringing my family, I decided that I wanted to start sharing it with others. And I think a really important thing for me, and I think a lot of people can agree in this community, you want to remember your loved one the way they truly, truly are and who they are as their soul. And that is in this blog of my mom's. So um, my mom and I also always talked about how we would have an art business together. She would always tell me, quit your job, let's sell my art, let's do this. Because she really did it as a hobby. She just did this for other people. She shared her art adventures, and she used art and art journaling as her self-care while caring for 4 crazy kids. So I just wanted to share that with everyone else. And so
Yeah.
once I went through a lot of the initial grief of understanding her diagnosis, I really felt empowered to like join this community and share this and share her messages of her blog and spread awareness of FTD through her artwork, which people love. So that's kind of how I got started. The business is all about, um, like I said, the messages of her blog and teaching people that anyone can make art. My
Mhm.
mom would always say, no matter how old, no matter your artistic ability, anyone can do this, no matter the age, no matter your economic status, you can use things that you have in your home. Um, and she was just all about, this is for everyone, and everyone can find healing and inspiration from art. So that's kind of the premise of my business. And I run workshops for art journaling. So
I love that. I love
yeah,
that. And so, one of the things that we know is sometimes our caregivers are trying to think of ways that they can engage with their loved one at home during this time and also hopefully do something that's enjoyable for both. Would you say that you have to have a certain skill set, or are there certain things that you need to be able to do or understand to be able to do art journaling?
I would say you just need a few very simple items. Absolutely don't need any artistic ability. We can give you some tools today of just some simple exercises. But another thing that my mom would talk about in her blog is like, there's no rules. It's all about just taking that time to sit and say, I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to focus on something different and um, just take a break. So I would say, in terms of supplies, I mean, you could just work simply with a piece of paper and a pen and doodle. I like to teach during this pandemic. I've been teaching online courses, and I require 5 materials, which I think you listed in the email. Magazine,
Oh,
notebook, that again, you could use.
I have
Yes.
my Oprah magazine today.
Yay, that's a
Yep.
good one. Magazine is something that my mom would always use to collage. Again, art junk. Everything was about using like junk in the house. Magazine, notebook, pen, scissors, and glue.
Scissors. And then I had two types of glue today, Maria, because I thought if I didn't want to be too messy, I could just use my glue stick.
Yes, I highly recommend a glue stick for my collage exercises, but I say use what you have. I had people using Consumer Report magazines in some of my workshops, so just use what you have. It's not really so much about the art and the end result, it's really about the process. And again, just taking that time to say, I'm going to turn off the news. I'm going to take a second for myself and I'm just going to relax and try something new. And sometimes all my mom had was, you know, a half an hour before running everybody to soccer practice. And she would just do a little piece or she would just cut up some paper. We can get into, I don't want to get ahead of myself with the instructions, but people say I don't have time, but you do have time. You just have to make that time for yourself. And like you said, when you make that time for yourself, it makes you a better caregiver because you're more well rested and like you're energized by that rest. So if you need
And
that
we were
motivation.
exactly. And we really encourage people that even a moment, even 5 minutes of self care can help to sustain you through a morning task or getting through a mealtime or getting through a long afternoon. So you may decide to take the skills or the tools that Maria gives us today and break them up into chunks. Maybe you just want to do little pieces. Maybe you don't have glue in your home and so you're going to use tape or post-its.
Right.
It's really, we want you to use your resilience and resourcefulness as caregivers and apply it in a way that feels good to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, Maria, did you have some words or tell me how you want to explain to people what is art journaling?
Sure.
Because I will say that when you first talked to me about it, I had never heard of it before.
Yes, as I get this all the time. People get scared when I say I do art journaling workshops. They're like, what is that? So the best way I can show you is by actually showing you an art journal. Um, so this is an art journal that actually my mom did with her friends. So they took turns. They would do a few pages and then mail them back and forth to each other. And you can tell they have a lot of different, styles of art. This page in particular is a page that my mom did. Again, just simple materials. It's just like scrap paper that she had. And actually, one of her art friends had reached out to me after hearing of her diagnosis and mailed this to me. And I said, this is such a special gift. And then I opened the page and it said, a special gift. This is what I think a special gift is, children. And then all of her children's name.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, so really it's what I'm seeing is that people can use creative materials, but also words. So
Yes,
that's how you came up with the art, or your mom came up with the art journal concept.
exactly. And there's a huge community online and you can see people do it in all different types of ways. My mom talked about in her blog a lot that as a child, she was like an avid like diary entry writer. But sometimes she would say that, just cutting the paper and starting with the art would then help her kind of relax and then the words would come out later. For me, when I art journal, I'm not very good with words. The words don't come easily to me. So I mostly just collage or maybe focus on one word. Like today, we're going to focus on hope. It's all in what works for you and what helps you relax. But yeah, she has so many. I mean, here's another page of hers. So colorful. Sometimes she would just draw and then,
That is adorable.
and now my dog is playing with my son's playhouse. Hold on 1 second. Porter, come here, Bob.
We really want to take the opportunity to acknowledge that people have different ways that they de-stress. And we
Yes.
know that caregiving can be a risk to your health because you're not paying as much attention to yourself because you're turning attention to your loved one. So I love the idea that this is an opportunity for a caregiver or really anyone to say, what do I enjoy? Even something as
Right.
simple as, what is an image or what colors do I like? What's jumping
Absolutely.
out at me?
Right, absolutely. So to your point, I mean, I'm a caregiver in the sense that at this point I'm helping my dad, the primary caregiver, and giving him support. But I'm a caregiver to my 2-year-old, and so is my husband, and he's home all day working now. So we're completely drained at the end of the day. And what we've been doing is just sitting and doing little art projects together just to unwind. And my husband's not an artist. I don't even really consider myself an artist. It's just something we do to, all right, Liam's in bed. Okay, let's exhale. So it's something you can do as a group too. I have a lot of workshops where people do mother-daughter, and it can be a good bonding as well. So
That is wonderful.
yeah.
And so you've used the visual to show us. Is there
Yes.
anything any words or descriptions that your mom had to like guide us to understand art journaling?
Yes, yes, she did. And I have a lot bookmarked here in my beautiful book from my husband. So I have one post where she has people kind of asking her questions about art journaling. So it's almost like frequently asked questions that she answers about it. So I think that could be good just to get us started. Um, Okay, it says top 7 reasons why you haven't started your art journal yet. Reason number 1, I don't have a journal and can't afford one of those, what do you call them, moleskins. Answer, you don't have to buy a journal. If you have a pen and crayons and a piece of paper, you can do a journal page. Besides that, I've done lots of journals in dollar store bin books. They have they have way good ones. I've also raided my kids' bookshelf and found journals they've gotten for birthdays that they've left empty. Mwahaha. She literally wrote mwahaha. Okay. 2, I'm not an artist. How can I do an art journal? That's like saying you have to be a dentist to brush your teeth. Sheesh. Don't you remember coloring as a kid? What happened? You forgot to color? 3, I don't have time. Yes, you do. 4, I just looked up these cool spreads in the journal junk group and I'm intimidated. Answer, this isn't a competition. Just be yourself and the rest will come naturally. Number 5, that answer still didn't help me. Your art journal is simply a journal page with some color. It can be anything you want it to be. It doesn't have to be fancy. Sometimes a journal page isn't done and you can go back to it and keep adding. This is the beauty of an art journal. It's your little place to play, write, gripe, dream, whatever you want. Number 6, I don't know where to start. Answer, Porter, come here. I don't know where to start. Answer, just go find a book, pick a time of day that's good for you, open the page, and start. It will be much easier than you think. If you're on the go, take it with you. I don't know about you, but I often find I spend lots of time waiting everywhere I go. This is a great time to sit and rest some thoughts in your journal. Number 7, but I still have questions. And then she just refers people to a bunch of the pages that or blogs that she has. So those 7 reasons why I haven't started, and here are all your answers from Leah. So
I think
there's
that
no reason not to try it,
there's no
right?
reason not to try it. And I'm not sure if you were thinking of showing us, but your mom mentioned grab a book. I know she's, grabbing empty journals from your bookshelves as a kid, but I've seen you also use actual books.
Yes, I have one. I meant to grab. I will grab it. 1 second.
Yeah. And I think what's really interesting about that is during this time of quarantine, I bet that people are, looking at the items in their home and maybe deciding, I read this book and it didn't really resonate with me. I think I'm going to chuck it out. Or
Yes.
I don't need it. And how could they upcycle it to be something useful?
I get so many questions about this, and I have to do a workshop on it. So this is my mom's art journal. They call it altered book journaling when you use books. You can see it's a very old book. The binding is even broken on it, but that's okay. She still worked with it. She painted the front, my life, and this can require a couple more materials if you want to get really fancy with it. But she would paint the pages and then collage on top. We have to work on preserving it because it's.
But I kind of love that because you could see that it's like worn and well loved.
Oh yeah. So one of the things with altered book journaling is a lot of times you want to start off with painting the page, so you kind of have it kind of looks like a normal journal, and it you can't see, the words. And so one of the things my mom would talk about a lot is some days you only have time to paint the page, and that's it. And in between, running errands or whatever, or doing something for the person that you're caregiving for. And she would just paint the page for 5 minutes, pick a pretty color and start painting. And just those 5 minutes of just no agenda, just painting. I know this because I've done it because my mom would preach it to me all the time. It just relaxes you for a minute. Just the stroke of the paintbrush and just not thinking about anything else. Anybody can do that. Anyone can pick up nice color that they like and just paint a blank page. And she would just leave it aside and then run back to it when she had time. And that was just the 5 minutes of her day that she just took a break. And I found now that I have my own child that sometimes that's all I have time to do. And it really, really helps me. And I've actually posted some videos online of me just painting the page, and people say it's so therapeutic to watch just a page be painted over.
Yes.
It's a good place to start.
So thank you for sharing that with us. And I know that that's not the focus of our time together today, but it's just such a unique, well, to me, seems such a unique way to express art. And I really love it. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so today, Maria, will you walk us through a little art journaling exercise?
Yes, absolutely. So I will show kind of what the finished product will look like, because I found in my workshops people like to know where they're headed, even though I say there's no rules. So Katie will be doing a page based off of this completed project.
Yep. Look, I started mine.
Yay! Awesome. Okay. You can see I kind of watercolored mine, but that's okay. You can even have it blank. So thank you. So the first thing that you do is you grab your magazine and you just start ripping out pages with colors or words or patterns that you love. And did you go ahead and do that ahead of time, Katie?
I did do a little bit of it. So for example, I found some things that I actually took the time to cut out. So I found this image, my heart loves your brain. And I think this probably speaks to the type of work that I do, that I had a magazine with these things hanging around. But I also, and so those things really spoke to me on the topic, right? But then I found that I was also pulling out pictures. I'm like, oh, I really like the way this confetti looks, or these t-shirts, I like the way that the colors kind of fanned out, right? So I thought, oh, maybe there's something I can do to just grab a piece of this magazine page.
I love that. Yep. So when I do this in my workshops, I just say, rip out those pages, step one. That's all we're focusing on, is just ripping out the pages. And it can be kind of therapeutic to just rip things out.
Rip it out, yeah.
And then once you have about, I'd say 10, 12, 15 pages, then I say, okay, set everything aside and just look at that stack of pages and start to cut out little shapes of what you liked on those pages. And then what you'll have once you're done doing that is a nice little stack of cut up paper that you can then start to collage.
Yeah.
So I'll show you an example too of some past workshops that I've done. So every time I do workshops, I do it like with the participants. And every time I just have different colors that I'm drawn to that day and different patterns and different moods. So even if you do the same prompt every day, it will look different. And it's just all about, for me especially, it's just about the relaxation, not so much about the finished product. So, Katie, do you have a little stack of paper?
I do. I have.
Okay.
Do you want me to cut out a little
Yes.
piece?
Yeah. Cut out the things that you love on that page.
Yeah.
I love the color.
Right. I love the
Yes.
color. You know, I think too that people are trying to find things that they can do at home that are appropriate for individuals of different stages, different abilities, people with different interests. And I like the idea that a family could sit around a table and everyone could be doing art journaling, but they could do it to their own interests and ability.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. Oh, beautiful.
My son was making fun of me at breakfast this morning when I was cutting out the word hope, and he said, I think you messed that up. I think you messed that up. Doesn't look too good. And I said, it looks fine. It looks
It's
fine.
perfect. It's perfect. And by the way, it's not about being perfect. It's
not
fine.
about,
However it is, it's great.
yeah. And, you know, what we know about stress is that it can impact so many things. It can impact sleep. It can impact appetite. It could impact your ability to respond in a moment of stress in the way maybe it's hard to respond as your best self if you're experiencing that stress. And so when you take time to just de-stress, it's really, it's not only an act of love for yourself, but it's an act of love for the person that you're caring for, because it
Absolutely.
allows you to be your best self.
Absolutely. I feel like when I first had Liam, and even times caring for my mom when I lived at home, I was just so focused on them and caring for them that I felt like I couldn't do anything for myself because that was my primary focus. But it took me a while to realize, okay, I'm better at caring for them when I take that time for myself. And if that's what you need to think about to motivate yourself, you should want to just take care of yourself for you, for your own self-love. But, you know, all of the caregivers that I've met in this community, they're so devoted to their loved ones. But if they realize, if you take this little time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, you'll be a better caregiver too, and you'll feel better.
And this is this is a self-care way that, like Maria said, you can really tune out kind of what's going on, right? You can say, I'm not going to have the news on in the background.
Absolutely.
We don't have to talk about coronavirus while we're doing this. You could even, I bet, Maria, like just like we're doing now, we're art journaling together, even though we're not in the same space. So you could set up your laptop and do it with someone who's in a different house and
Absolutely.
make those connections. But there are also other ways to have self-care. One of them is you could come to a support group. Maria, do you want to talk about how support groups may have helped you and
Absolutely.
your family?
Yes. I think my dad would describe it as life-changing, going to the support groups. He went initially, and then I kind of went in support of him, and then met this amazing community. And I think, you know, a lot of people that come into this community and learn of the diagnosis of their loved ones, they've never heard of FTD before.
Right.
And and then they have to learn how to explain it to others, and nobody understands, and everybody says, oh, try this, try that, try sign language. Nobody gets what you're going through
Right.
until you go to the support group and you meet these lovely people that you're so sad to see that they are also struggling, but there's some beautiful thing about the community of like, you're saying something about maybe your loved one. We had a lot of growing pains of figuring out how to deal with my mom's behavioral issues in the beginning. Like, she would wander, and we would raise our hands and say, we don't know what to do about this, and then there would be 5 people giving us suggestions because they've had this similar situation. So it just, for me, it was so nice to feel like people understood what I was talking about. And I even had my best friend from home in DC would say, you know, I'm so happy you have the support group, because I listen and I hear and I see your mom, but like, nobody knows what you're going through like those people do. So I thank God every day that we found this community, and that we found Katie the best.
You guys are so
Uh,
sweet.
but it really is, it's just such a warm and loving group. And I've made some great relationships through it. And yeah, we're all in just such a unique situation that so few people understand. So to go into a room or to join the virtual calls and have people understand these unique challenges, and have a lot of people bring many solutions to the table. I mean, apps that you can use, and so many different strategies. I feel like my dad could write like a book now about all these different things that he's learned how to troubleshoot. But it's just so great. We all help each other and can sympathize with each other. I can't
What
say enough good things about it.
and I wanted Maria to talk about her experience in the support group, because support group is still available today. So every Tuesday, because of the quarantine, we're running virtual support groups. So all you have to do is go to our website, because.massgeneral.org/FTD support, and you'll be able to register for free for a Tuesday support group. And we have them Tuesdays at 10 in the morning, and then on the alternate week, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And those are led by myself and support group leaders that are affiliated with the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration. And, I think just listening to Maria, caregiving is such a great analogy for what we're doing here with art, which is that to be an artist, you just have to do art. There's
Right.
nothing else required. And for caregiving, a lot of people say to me, I'm not trained for this. I don't know what I'm doing. But if you're providing care, you are a caregiver. That's all that's required.
Absolutely.
So I just cut out a little champagne bottle.
I love it. Someone did that in our workshops the other night. It was like a collage of like pina coladas and wine bottles, whatever makes you happy and
Whatever
helps
makes
you
you happy.
relax.
And then if people are interested in participating in more workshops with you, can they go to artjunkstudios.com and find
Yes.
out more?
Yes. And like I said, I think I mentioned at the beginning, a part of my mission when I started this business is that I want to give back to the FTD community. So if you are an FTD caregiver and you go on my website, send me a note. There's a contact us at the bottom of the page, I think maybe at the top right as well. Let me know that you're an FTD caregiver, and I will not charge you for a workshop. Um, I just really, truly believe that this will be very helpful to you. Just to take, my classes are an hour, if you can find the time. I can also try and arrange one, Katie, maybe during a support group.
Yes.
I know that people are available, because I just really believe in this, and it gives me so much healing too, to be sharing my mom's light and her words. And during this terrible diagnosis, I'm using all of that to help other people in her community. It's just, it brings me a lot of joy and comfort in a really challenging situation.
Yes, yeah, you're totally doing that, Maria. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
that generosity.
absolutely.
I love it. And so I do have a little pile of
Okay,
papers, and I have my paper where I just glue stick the word hope.
perfect.
And
Great.
so, what would I do next?
So you have a couple different options. You can collage around the word hope. You can cut up the scraps more to kind of fill them in, like the example I was showing earlier with the purple. Where is it?
I'm gonna just start putting my
Just
glue stick on the
whatever
back of the.
whatever makes you happy, wherever you feel called. I have a lot of people in my workshops go rogue and they do, and that's what I love. Yes, perfect. You can, some people really like the structure of put this here, do this now, and they need that. But I love when people just do whatever feels good. Perfect. So here, I'll share while you're doing that, I can share some other pages.
Yeah, we'd love to
Just to spark people's,
hear from your mom about, just thoughts that she had about the creative process or
yes.
for you.
Oh, absolutely. I will definitely share that. Um, so, okay. Here's one. It was at the beginning of 2008, and she was kind of talking about her New Year's resolutions for her creativity. And she said, I love to just let go and create. I need to create or I get really, really cranky. I put all my special boxes of scrap paper and pens close to me at night and start to cut out and paste. It's like my own little comfort zone, a place to go to unwind, dream, and relax. When I made this card, she had a little card on her blog that she showed. I'll show you guys. It says create miracles.
Oh,
She said, when I made this card, I was thinking about how art and creativity gives us the ability and opportunity to look at life anew and in some ways create miracles. One of my resolutions, which I will post soon, is to simply embrace my creativity every day. Sounds easy, right? Well, it isn't always easy. I sometimes struggle with the freedom and youthful playfulness that being creative lends itself to, like I need to be a more serious adult. Well, I've decided this year is a year that I will step out of and embrace my creative self, all parts of myself. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but this is where I am right now, ready to take a leap, ready to be myself, ready to show my true colors, ready to get my art on. Hope you
oh.
will join me. XO Leah.
I mean, I really love that. Okay, look at. I think I've got the makings of a good
I
beginning here.
love it. I love it.
And
I
I know
want
that you could just keep going as long as you have interest and time and yeah.
there's so many different ways that you can do it too. Like my mom said, and I mentioned, I mean, if you just have a paper and pen, you can just start doodling or just start writing one big word and nice, like if you have nice handwriting. Um, one thing I really want to get into is mandalas. I've heard that's very relaxing as well. There's so many different ways you can art journal. A lot of my mom's work was doing this collage and using items from around the house. But there's so many ways you can do it. And I encourage people to go online, search art journaling. I have a page called Art for Amalia where I post my mom's artwork. It's on Instagram, and
Yeah.
you can get some ideas there as well. And I'm always open to helping people figure out how to use what they have in their house. So please feel free to reach out to me.
That is wonderful. And as we close today, Maria, one thing that I was thinking about is we've been talking a lot about like the visual And what's beautiful with art that you see something and you enjoy it, and that people of any ability, and I would like to say that also any ability could include if your loved one has visual impairments, that you may decide to look for things that have different textures, like
Mhm.
maybe a cotton ball because it's soft, or different fabrics, and that maybe your loved one wants to use a collage that is tactile or sensory, and then that brings them enjoyment. And you could
Yes.
use it that way as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think, when my mom could still create art, but her ability was reduced, um, even just painting is just very therapeutic, and it doesn't have to be like, Picasso is just like I was talking about earlier, just kind of just painting the page, and just the brush strokes even can kind of, help your breathing and slow you down. And I know there's varying, cases of FTD, so not everyone can do that, but that's also just sit them down with some paper and some paint and see kind of what happens.
Well, I think that you have given us some great tools today for self care today. And also for those who are artistically minded and want to learn more, they can go to artjunkstudios.com and connect with you, and Art for Amalia through Instagram, just to get inspired. And is there anything else that you would like to share, Maria, as we
I'd love
say
to
goodbye?
share like one last little piece from my mom's blog. So the Art for Amalia Instagram that I started actually turned into a fundraiser that we did with MGH, where we raised over $8,000 for the FTD unit, by sharing my mom's art and having kids' art stations. It was a fabulous event, and we'll do it again. And I shared this piece of her journal, and I feel like it really hit home for a lot of people. Um, and I can't find it right now, but I'm going to I know it off the top of my head.
Oh.
So I read a longer one, but I'll just say, she said, everyone is a creative being, and everyone has a light, and everyone has the power and ability to inspire. She's so profound. She had 500 posts like that. I mean, it's
That's so
beautiful.
amazing.
Yes, so everyone can do this in their own way, and I'm happy to help you do it. And I'm so happy to be a part of this community, and so happy to know you, Katie. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Maria, for bringing your light to our community. You and your family are an inspiration to me and to our whole team at the MGHFTD unit. And I just thank you so much for not only being a part of our Community Forum Friday session today, but from being a part of our community.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.